All right, we're going to start this one off a little differently in the form of a question that you can feel free to reply in the comment feed or just reach out to me directly. If you can name for me a society that functions well, even though life is now cheap because no one's really held accountable for taking it. Likewise, it's rare for spouses to even be able to trust one another anymore. Moreover, property belongs to whoever can take it. And similarly, truth, it's basically become whatever the most powerful say it is, or what the most clever can convince you it should be. Likewise, in terms of the internet, every other person you meet online is a bot. It's either trying to get your personal information because it covets whatever it can take from your account, or it covets your support so much that it's willing to drive a wedge between you and people that you actually love, so it can herd you into a camp behind one cause or another. See, that's typically the kind of thing you would see in a dystopian drama, dystopian being a projection of what the world would look like without any reliable order. But we see pieces of that even around the world today, which as much of that last set of questions might have reminded you of some parts of America, it makes it the reason why so many people are still trying to run to America, even though it has plenty of flaws. It's because it has a more reliable structure than where they're coming from. And day-to-day life without at least a little bit of structure just becomes almost unbearable in some places. If you've had a chance to go to places and parts of the world where the legal structures are just broken down, and generation after generation, folks really don't know what they can depend on from day to day. And so ultimately, you probably caught on, I'm talking about the second half of the Ten Commandments, and that's where we are in Exodus chapter 20. But Jesus is going to take it up a notch. And even if you can't imagine what it would be like to live inside a dystopian future or the third world present in too many parts of the world, think about the way that Jesus restated the Ten Commandments when looking at the second half. He talked about the need to go beyond just not killing and understanding how much damage is done when you don't check your anger, or beyond just the act of actually committing adultery. You create greater problems for yourself and your family when you don't take seriously enough the need to check your lusts. Understand, this society is one, and I'm talking about American society, is one where psychologists and psychiatrists are thriving on our inability to check our impulses early enough before they become an overwhelming problem. And so what we're looking at now is a situation where, as easy as it can be to dismiss old things like the Ten Commandments, it's hard to name a society that functions well without respect for the safety of a person, without trust between spouses, without some form of baseline objective truth and some kind of protection for property, and the ability to trust people enough to just say, at least when I'm around other folks, I don't have to always worry about them wanting what I got, or vice versa. I haven't allowed my desires for grass being greener on the other side of the fence to overwhelm me to the point where I can't be happy with what I have. And so ultimately, once we stop picking at God's laws, then we can start to realize how they actually have value, not only in our culture, but in every culture that has probably been livable since the beginning of time. And so over the next few weeks, we're going to look past some of the more traditional criticisms of God's law to point out some of the ways that we've probably overlooked the wisdom in what God is telling us to do, and how it provides structure, not just for our societies, but our family lives, and how in overlooking some of these commandments, we have overlooked God's counsel that helps us avoid the need to go sit on the couch because we haven't recognized early enough the potential damage that we're doing when we fail to check our anger, our lusts, our desire for other people's things, and basically appreciating the need to have a functioning conscience before our lives get out of control.